Millionaire returns after 3 years only to discover his fiancee's shocking secret. Incredible transformation awaits. Jack Miller stepped off the bus in his old hometown, feeling the weight of the 3-year climb to corporate success heavy on his shoulders. The sidewalks looked smaller, the familiar faces older and more worn. But this was home, at least it had been. His heart raced with hope as he thought of Sarah, the love he left behind, the girl who promised to hold down the fort. Yet, as the early evening light faded, whispers drifted through the streets that chilled him. "Did you hear? Sarah's been doing something strange," he overheard as he passed by the diner. He gripped his duffel tighter. What could she possibly be hiding? Memories flooded back of their late-night talks under the stars, their dreams of building a better life together. A thrill of discomfort washed over him, setting the earlier excitement on edge. As he made his way to the community center, a place bursting with laughter and memories, a sense of foreboding grew thicker. Sarah had dedicated her days to that haven of hope in their crumbling town, while he had chased the American dream in sleek boardrooms. But why hadn't she shared her burdens? The doorway swung wide, revealing her beauty, but there was something different, and unease shadowed her smile. "Hey, Jack," said Sarah, her eyes sparkling for a moment before flickering to the ground, a telltale sign of something unspoken. A tightness filled his chest. She was hiding something, and the warmth of their connection felt faint. In the days that followed, Jack stumbled upon the truth: the community center was on the verge of closing, and Sarah had begun a crowdfunding campaign to keep it alive, pouring her heart and soul into every detail. The realization hit him hard: she had been shouldering this crisis alone, while he reveled in his success. Guilt and frustration tangled within him like wild vines, choking out his joy. "Why didn't you tell me?" Jack demanded one evening, his voice hoarse with emotion, as Sarah stood before him, her usually bright spirit dimmed. "Because I wanted to protect you, Jack," she cried, tears glistening in her eyes. "This place means everything to me, and to so many others. My father, he has been struggling too. He fought in the war, and now he can't find peace. I can't let this place die, especially knowing how it helped him." His heart splintered further as she spoke. The weight of his achievements felt unbearably heavy. He had wanted to rise above, to conquer, to be the man who could provide for her. But in the pursuit of that dream, had he lost sight of what truly mattered? Families, like Sarah's, that needed support and love. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The silence stretched between them, heavy and tense. Jack could feel the weight of his decisions in the darkness. They were two people standing at a crossroads, their hopes fractured but still hanging by a thread. The community needed leadership, but so did their hearts. Could he step back from the corporate spotlight and unite his ambition with Sarah's heart for the town? Would they find the strength to revitalize not just the community center, but their relationship as well? With renewed determination, Jack took a deep breath, ready to confront the challenges ahead. Yet, the question hung in the air: would they find hope together, or would their love succumb to secrets that had already begun to weave shadows around them? Jack couldn't shake off the heaviness in the air. That night, standing on the edge of a dream that felt like it could unravel at any moment, he struggled with thoughts swirling in his mind. Could he really abandon the glitzy, successful life he had fought so hard to create? He had sacrificed so much to reach the top. Yet, when he looked at Sarah, her fragile hope and fierce determination ignited something within him. "What if we worked together?" Jack finally suggested, his voice steadying as he found a small light of conviction. I can help you save the community center. We can bring in sponsors, host events, even tap into my network from the city. It's time I put this success to good use. Sarah looked up, her eyes wide with a mix of disbelief and hope. You really mean that? Of course. This place is part of you, part of who we are. If it matters to you, it matters to me. The sincerity in his voice sliced through the tension, creating a small patch of warmth amidst their earlier confrontation. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes again, but this time they were accompanied by a radiant smile. You don't know how much that means to me, Jack. We can do this together. People just need to believe in it again. The next few days blended into a whirlwind of energy and urgency. They spent long hours at the community center, poring over plans, brainstorming ideas, and discussing ways to connect with the townspeople. Jack was invigorated by the chaos of it all. The laughter that echoed from the children's classes and the encouragement from local elders reminded him of why he loved this place. The community center was not merely a building. It was a pulse that kept the heart of their town beating. As they engaged with the townsfolk, Jack saw a shift. The longer he was back, the more he realized how entwined their lives were with those of the people in their community. They were reminded of their shared struggles, joys, and dreams. However, just as the momentum started building, doubts began nagging at Jack's mind. He noticed Sarah's attention wavering. There were nights when he defied her lingering in thought, a distance shimmering in her eyes. Is everything okay? He asked one evening, concerned as they tidied up after a successful community meeting. She hesitated, her lips drawing into a thin line. It's just everything seems to be happening so quickly. What if we can't save it? What if my father needs me but I'm too focused on this? Her vulnerability stabbed at his heart, and he stepped closer, taking her hands in his. We're in this together, no matter what. The community is counting on us, yes, but so are we. We want to give up. I want to let you try to carry this alone again. But as they headed into the next meeting, Jack noticed a newcomer who seemed more interested than any other. A tall, poised woman entered the center, her eyes scanning the room. He recognized her immediately. A past rival from his corporate days, she was known for cutting deals and making waves. What was she doing in their small town? A sudden sense of foreboding washed over him. Would she disrupt everything they were trying to build? Jack's heart raced. There was something about her presence that might change everything they had just begun to cultivate. As he exchanged glances with Sarah, uncertainty flickered in the air. What if this was the beginning of a challenge that could either bring them closer together or tear them apart? All right then, Jack thought as he squared his shoulders. Let us see what happens next. He took a deep breath, focused, ready to face whatever storm was brewing. The journey to rebuild was only just beginning, and already, mysteries and challenges loomed on the horizon. What secrets did the woman hold, and how would they impact Jack and Sarah's chance for a future together? The community center hummed with life as more and more townsfolk gathered for the meeting. Jack felt a mix of excitement and anxiety stir within him. He glanced at Sarah, who was busy chatting with a few longtime attendees. She radiated warmth, her laughter blending with the chatter, but he couldn't shake the anticipation that coiled in his gut. The newcomer took a seat at the back, elegantly poised, her presence commanding attention. Jack's instincts were on high alert. This was not just any stranger. This was Miranda, a celebrated businesswoman known for her ruthlessness. They had crossed paths before, and she had never been one to play fair. Was she here to undercut their efforts, or was there something else behind her motives? All right, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight, Sarah called out, drawing the room as focus back to her. We're excited to share our vision for revitalizing the community center. Jack watched her, proud of how she drew in the crowd. It was easy to forget the unease creeping at the edges of his mind when she lit up like this. He moved closer, wanting to support her. Sarah laid out their plans, covering events, activities for kids, and potential sponsors. There was a sparkle in her eye, and Jack felt it too, the sense that they were building something bigger than themselves. But as the presentation unfolded, Miranda leaned forward, her expression inscrutable. Jack could see the curiosity sparking in her eyes. When the time came for questions, she raised her hand gracefully. "Impressive initiative, Sarah. But may I ask, how do you plan to compete with the modern facilities that have sprung up in the area? You're trying to breathe life into something that may already be outdated?" Jack felt the air shift, a chill cutting through the warmth of the room. He darted a look at Sarah, whose expression momentarily faltered. "But it's not about being modern," Sarah countered, her voice steadying as she found her balance again. "What we're offering is community connection, a place where people belong. No high-tech gym or flashiest decor can replace that." There was a ripple of agreement through the audience, bolstered by Jack's silent support. He squeezed Sarah's shoulder, silently affirming her strength. Miranda remained unfazed. "That sounds lovely, but idealism won't pay the bills. Have you thought about how to attract the right sponsorships? After all, good intentions alone do not keep the lights on." Jack's heart raced. Did she intend to unsettle them? Actually, yes. Jack stepped forward, his voice ringing with conviction. "We know the challenges, and that's why we're determined to reach out to local businesses, the ones who care. It's about reinstating what our community once was. Not just for nostalgia, Jack." Miranda's voice cut through the conversation like a knife. "Think practically. You both have a passion, but passion doesn't translate to success in this world. I could help, you know. I have connections, resources that would truly make an impact." Uncertainty crawled up Jack's spine. He could see her sly smile. Was she offering a lifeline or a noose? Sarah shifted beside him, her fingers tightening briefly around his. "We appreciate your offer, Miranda, but we're fully committed to doing this without sacrificing our vision," Sarah stated, the warmth in her tone morphing into a steely resolve. Jack admired her grit, but doubts gnawed at him. Was it wise to turn down someone with resources? The meeting wrapped up with a mix of enthusiasm and lingering tensions. As people dispersed, Jack lingered behind, catching Sarah's eye. "You handled that well, but do you really think we can dismiss her?" "Maybe not dismiss, but we need to stay true," she replied, pulse racing. He nodded, still unsure. What if her presence meant more than a challenge? As they stepped outside, under the dim streetlights, Jack felt the cool night air bustling with possibilities and risks. "Sarah, what do we do if she tries to undermine us?" Her gaze met his, eyes fierce yet uncertain. "We stay prepared. We've come this far together. Maybe it's time we solidified our strength together." They started walking down the quiet street, the tension lingering in the air around them. Before they could reach a decision, they turned the corner and stumbled upon a flyer pasted on a lamppost. Jack's breath caught in his throat. It was a fundraiser organized by none other than Miranda, scheduled right on the same date as their first major event. Perfect timing, he muttered, a bad feeling bubbling in his stomach. What had they just walked into? And how far was Miranda willing to go to win? Jack's heart thudded heavily in his chest as he stared at the flyer, the bright colors blaring against the dim streetlight. "Fundraiser for community support," it read, and right below, in fine print, "hosted by Miranda Weston." The date jumped out at him like a bad omen. It was set for the same day as their event. "This is not good," Sarah whispered, her eyes flitting between the flyer and Jack's troubled face. "We can't let her sabotage what we've built." Jack tore his gaze from the flyer, turning to Sarah. He could see her mind racing, her passion shining through the uncertainty. We have to respond, he said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Maybe we can change the date of ours? No, Sarah said, shaking her head. We can't let her dictate our plans. This is about our community, our vision. Let's focus on showing them why our event matters. A determined spark lit up Sarah's eyes, and Jack felt himself get swept up in her resolve, despite the nagging worry in the back of his mind. They walked back to her car, discussing how to rally support from the townsfolk. They needed to make it clear why Miranda's event would only distract from the real heart of the community, their community. The next morning, Jack found himself editing their presentation, determined to highlight the emotional connections they had been nurturing through their plans. They needed to remind everyone why being together was vital. He envisioned the banners that would hang at the center, the smiles of children running around, the communal cookouts. For a moment, he felt hopeful, but the hope was short-lived. As the day drew closer, Jack noticed increased tension in the air. Everyone was talking about Miranda's fundraiser, buzzing with excitement. He felt a gnawing worry that their vision was slipping through their fingers. On the day of their event, Jack and Sarah arrived early, setting up what they hoped would rival Miranda's extravaganza. Tables were adorned with handmade decorations, and the smell of fresh baked goods wafted through the air. But as they worked, whispers buzzed among the townsfolk about Miranda's event, drawing more attention than they anticipated. Jack glanced around. The crowd was smaller than he'd hoped. His stomach twisted. He turned to Sarah. What if we've lost them? She stopped, hands on her hips, staring into the distance where light and laughter poured from the other side of town. We want to lose them. They want connection. We just have to remind them of that. But doubt still clung to him. What if she's right? What if no one wants our old-fashioned community spirit? Sarah stepped closer, her voice gentle but firm. Jack, we believe in this. Let's share our stories, our dreams. Just because Miranda has flashy lights doesn't mean she is what we do. As the clock ticked closer to the start time, the first few attendees trickled in. They were familiar faces, the elders of the community, the fabric of what they were trying to revive. Seeing them gave Jack a rush of determination. With a deep breath, he and Sarah launched into their presentation, highlighting every detail they'd painstakingly crafted. They shared stories that inspired laughter and tears, the importance of togetherness gripping the crowd. They could feel it, they were reconnecting with what truly mattered. But just as Jack felt the energy shift toward them, he caught sight of Miranda approaching, flanked by a group of well-dressed associates. The smiles on those faces sent a wave of dread through him. As she reached the front, her presence demanded attention. I hear there's quite an event happening here, but allow me to offer a more modern perspective. What would she say next? Jack felt the tension in the air thicken, his heart racing anew. What if her words cut through their momentum like a knife? He exchanged a worried glance with Sarah, realizing they were in for a fight, one that would determine the fate of their community center. Could they withstand the pressure? What secrets would come to light in this clash? As the crowd quieted, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that everything hinged on the next moments. How far would Miranda go to try to pull them apart? Miranda's voice echoed across the clearing, a smooth but biting contrast to the warmth Jack and Sarah had been building. A modern perspective, she began, gesturing expansively to the crowd. What does that even mean? What does it mean for community? This isn't just about nostalgia, it's about moving forward. Her words dangled in the air, waiting for a reaction. Jack swallowed hard, feeling like every eye shifted toward him and Sarah and away from the comfort of familiarity they had cultivated. He could sense Sarah stiffen beside him, determination morphing into a fierce resolve. Miranda continued, her tone dripping with faux concern. I admire your efforts, truly. But how can you compete with an event designed for everyone? I'm sure the children will love the cotton candy and games we have planned at my fundraiser. She smiled as if she knew she had them cornered. Jack clenched his fists, fighting the urge to counter with anger. "This isn't about competition, Miranda," he shouted, surprising even himself at the volume. The crowd turned, startled. "This is about community. It's about real connections." A ripple of surprise ran through the attendees, most of whom knew Jack and Sarah's hearts lay in the event they poured every ounce of devotion into. He continued, grounding himself in the shared history they were all part of. "We celebrate our town's spirit, diving into stories and friendships. We're looking to the past to enrich our future." "Enrich the past?" Miranda shot back. Her eyes glinted with sharpened wit, effortlessly redirecting the tension. "You're romanticizing a community that was never perfect. Why cling to something that was flawed? My event will bring innovation. Growth. Isn't that what we all want?" Jack took a breath, quieting the voices in his head that nudged him toward despair. A few elders in the crowd exchanged looks, their brows furrowed. "Tell them, Jack," Sarah urged softly, grasping his arm with a reassuring squeeze. "Remind them what we're really fighting for." He glanced at her, drawing strength from her unwavering belief, and turned back to the crowd. "We fight for connection. For finding joy in the small moments, like a potluck where everyone shares a dish. Or a story swap that sparks laughter and memories. Isn't that what draws us together, more than just money spent and flashy lights?" The connection he was striving for rippled in the air. Looks of recognition crossed the faces in the crowd. Hope was flickering back. Jack felt his heart race, each beat echoing the sentiments he knew they all shared. As the atmosphere shifted, a voice broke through the tension. Old Mrs. Thompson, the town matriarch. "I attended an event like Jack speaks of years ago. And let me tell you, I'll choose an old-fashioned picnic any day over a carnival." The crowd stirred, nodding, and murmurings of agreement coursed through the audience. Miranda's gaze pinned Jack with sharp intensity. "So, a yearning for the good old days is enough to satisfy you?" she countered, trying to reclaim control of the narrative. Jack felt a fire spark inside him. "This isn't just about nostalgia. This is about our community thriving together. It's about us nurturing relationships that will last. Isn't that worth fighting for?" His voice resonated, drawing nods and small cheers from the crowd. The divide was clear, but it was shifting. Miranda glanced around, the confident mask slipping for just a moment. Jack seized that opening. "We need each other. Look around, these are the people who have stood together through thick and thin. Is that not worth celebrating?" But just as hope surged, he noticed a figure emerging from the shadows. Sam, the town's former mayor, whose opinion weighed heavily in community discussions. Jack's heart sank when he saw Sam whispering to Miranda, her lips curling with a triumphant smile. What was she planning now? Jack felt dread pooling in his stomach as the crowd quieted once more, their attention wavering. Could they really hold on to this connection? Would Sam's next move send them all right back into the pit of doubt? The stakes rose higher than ever, and Jack wondered if they truly had what it took to withstand the upcoming storm. What would Miranda and her allies do next to turn the tide? Jack's heart raced as he watched Sam lean in closer to Miranda. He could almost feel the tension weave through the crowd, thick as summer humidity. Heads turned, whispers filled the air, and the mood shifted dangerously. Where there had been a spark of hope, now there was a looming uncertainty. "Friends," Sam began, his voice smooth and commanding, "it's great to see such community spirit here today." His words dripped with practiced charm, but Jack could detect a hint of something sinister, a suggestion that undermined everything they had just fought for. "However," Sam continued, "I think we all agree that progress is necessary for our town." The crowd murmured, the excitement from Mrs. Thompson's endorsement fading into anxious glances. Jack felt a swell of frustration. This felt like a game, and part of him wanted to shout out his objections. to rally them once more. But how could he do that when Sam held such an established position of authority? "What are you doing, Sam?" he muttered under his breath, clenching his fists. Miranda's smirk widened. "Let us not forget, Jack," she cut in. "New things come with new opportunities. A fundraiser can boost our economy, bring in fresh ideas. The future doesn't wait for anyone, after all." People started nodding again, and Jack could feel the tide turning. "Ladies and gentlemen," Sam addressed the crowd, "I see your love for our town. But let us not ignore the fact that this isn't just about warm feelings and potlucks, it's about our livelihood. Do we really want to cling to the past when we have a chance to lead into a bright, new tomorrow?" Sarah squeezed Jack's arm again, as if to ground him. The calm energy radiating from her gave him just enough strength. "We all want the best for our community," Jack said, his voice steadied by her presence. "But we can evolve without losing who we are. We don't have to tear down our roots to grow a strong tree." The air buzzed with uncertainty, but hope flickered anew as some gathered around them started to clap. "Let us not forget what made us proud citizens in the first place." Old Mr. Jennings raised his cane, his voice shaking but strong. "This town has seen us through tough times. Now it's time we start supporting one another. Joy isn't something you can buy, it's something you build." Sarah chimed in, her voice ringing with passion that traveled through the crowd. More claps followed, and Jack felt the energy shift. They were united again, even if just for those moments, but Sam wasn't ready to back down. "You underestimate the foundation of progress, Jack." His voice rose, gaining power as he spoke. "We are all business owners, parents, teachers. We need real solutions, and nostalgia won't pay a single school fee." "Maybe you're right, Sam," Jack replied, his heart pounding. "But what happens when we lose ourselves in this quest for profit? What do our children really stand to gain if they don't see the beauty of connection with family, with history?" The crowd paused. Jack's words hung in the air, reminiscent of echoes in a cave. "What is it going to be, folks?" Sam leaned in, eyes scanning the crowd. "Flashing lights with a bright future or memories that won't pay your bills?" Tension flickered, and Jack felt as if they were standing on the edge of a precipice. Before he could think, he spotted a familiar face slipping through the crowd. Lily, the youngest town council member. She looked unsettled, as if she had something urgent to say. What had Lily come to share? Would it change the course of this heated discussion, or would it only intensify the fallout? Jack steadied himself. It felt like the breaking point had arrived, and nothing would be the same after this moment. Lily's eyes darted around, searching for something or someone, and as she reached Jack, there was a frantic energy about her. Jack tensed, sensing the weight of what she was about to say. She leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. "Jack, I think you need to see this." Before he could respond, she reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. The screen lit up, revealing a headline that nearly took his breath away. "Town Council approves major development project with hidden plans." Jack's heart sank. "What do you mean, hidden plans?" he asked, his voice shaking. The crowd around them was still caught in a battle of opinions, but for Jack, the world had narrowed to just this moment. Lily's expression was grave. "Look at the details." She tapped the screen, revealing more text. Environmental impact underestimated, community feedback disregarded. Jack felt an icy chill creep up his spine. Was this what Sam was after all along? It wasn't just about money, it was about control. "They're planning to bulldoze the old park," she said quietly, her voice filled with urgency. "And they've been keeping it under wraps until it was too late to stop it." Jack's stomach twisted in knots. The town park had been a cornerstone of their community. It was where he had spent countless summer afternoons playing football, and where he'd shared his first kiss with Sarah. The thought of losing it felt like a punch in the gut. "Sam is using this fundraiser as a distraction," Lily continued, her voice steady despite her fear. He wants to make these changes for profit, without the townspeople really understanding what it means. Jack turned back to the crowd. The murmurs of citizens debating and cheering felt distant now. He could see Sam, leaning confidently against the podium, a hint of triumph twitching at the corner of his mouth. "Lily, we need to expose this," Jack exclaimed. "We need to get the truth out before it's too late." "Exactly. But we can't do it alone," she replied, urgency creeping back into her voice. "We have to unite everyone again, or they might not hear us above the noise." Just then, Sarah caught Jack's eye from across the crowd. He could see her frown deepen as she watched Sam charm the audience. Jack's determination grew. He clenched Lily's shoulder and whispered, "We have to bring them together. We have to make them understand what is at stake." As if feeling the weight of their resolve, Lily nodded. She pulled back slightly, scanning the crowd before locking her gaze with Jack's. "We need to act fast. If we wait too long, they might think they're in control." Jack took a deep breath, his mind racing. He felt the energy shift inside him, a flame igniting. "All right, let us do this. We'll need to rally everyone again. It's now or never." The crowd was loud, but Jack could make out snippets of conversation that ignited his hope. "What about the children? I can't lose my home." Voices filled the air with unease. As he and Lily moved to gather support, Jack felt a sense of purpose that he hadn't felt before. This wasn't just about nostalgia or economic growth. It was about a community being pushed aside for profit. It was time to fight back. "How are we going to go about it?" Lily asked, her eyes bright with determination. Jack thought for a moment, replaying memories of the town gatherings that had bound them together. "We'll hold a town meeting. An open forum where everyone can hear the truth." But as he turned back toward the crowd, another figure caught his eye. Miranda was watching closely, her expression perplexed. Jack's heart sank as he realized that she might already be aware of their plans. Would they be able to pull off this united front against Sam? Or would his truth, with its weighty implications, simply lead to their unraveling? The stakes had never been higher. Jack's heart raced as he met Miranda's gaze. There was an uncertain look on her face, a mix of confusion and concern. He couldn't shake the feeling that she was the missing piece in a puzzle that could either save or sink their efforts. He knew that Miranda, for all her quiet demeanor, had her finger on the pulse of the town. If she understood what was happening, that knowledge could be key. "Lily," he said sharply, pulling her further into a corner where they could talk without being heard. "I think we need Miranda on our side." Lily raised her eyebrows, skepticism pulling at her lips. "You think she'll help us?" "She is close with Sam. But she also cares about the town," Jack urged. The energy around them buzzed with fear and anxiety, and he felt that urgency creeping back in. If we show her the truth, she might see how this affects everyone, including her. "Let us try," Lily decided, determination sparking in her eyes. They made their way toward Miranda, weaving through the rows of townsfolk. The sounds of heated discussions filled the air, blending into a chaotic symphony of worry and hope. As they approached, Miranda stood tall, her arms crossed over her chest, watching Sam with narrowed eyes. She looked every bit the pillar of strength that Jack knew her to be. He took a breath, summoning his courage. "Miranda," he called, breaking through the crowd. She turned toward them, and for a moment, Jack hoped he could see the flicker of interest in her eyes. "Jack." "Lily. What is happening? Have you seen this?" Jack brought out his phone, showing her the article, his heart pounding with the moment. She read quickly, her brow furrowing deeper with each sentence. When she finished, she looked up, a spark igniting in her expression, one that took Jack by surprise. "This is huge," she finally said, glancing back at Sam, who was now wrapping up his speech. "I had no idea they were planning anything like this." Lily stepped forward, her voice steady but urgent. We need your help. If we work together, we can rally everyone to unite against this plan. Miranda took a long breath, weighing their words. You really think we can get them to listen? Look at the crowd. They're all in favor of Sam's ideas. They don't know the truth, Jack pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. What is at stake? We have to make them see it. Miranda hesitated, looking from Jack to Lily, and then to the crowd, her uncertainty palpable. Jack felt a flutter of fear, a worry that they might lose her support. But then, he saw it, the fire igniting behind her eyes, his words sparking something in her. All right, she finally nodded. Let us do this. I'll help you. But we need to move fast. You're right, Lily said, hope brightening her expression. We'll hold a rally tonight at the park. If we make it personal, they won't be able to ignore us. As Jack turned back toward the crowd, adrenaline coursed through him. With Miranda on their side, it felt possible to unite everyone, to get them to care again. But as he looked at Sam on stage, something sinister flickered in the other man's eyes. Jack's stomach twisted with unease. Just remember, Miranda said softly, her voice breaking through his thoughts. We can't let them intimidate us. They'll try. But don't let them. Jack nodded, his heart pounding. He was ready to fight. Ready to save what they loved. But just then, an unexpected eruption of cheers from the crowd pulled his attention back to Sam. Jack's gut clenched when he realized Sam was about to unveil the project's supposed benefits, the fake charity plan designed to win over the most skeptical. Let us go, he said, urgency fueling his legs as he strode toward the crowd. The time was ticking, and they had to act before Sam's words could sway anyone else. As they approached, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that they were out of time. Would they be able to rally everyone against the overwhelming tide of Sam's manipulation? Or was the truth buried so deep it wouldn't rise to the surface in time? Jack pushed through the crowd, a sea of anxious faces forming a barrier he needed to penetrate. He glanced at Lily and Miranda flanking him, their expressions echoing the urgency in his chest. He reached Sam just as the man stepped away from the podium, finishing his well-rehearsed pitch, the crowd hanging on to his every word. Tonight, Sam said, his voice smooth, we embark on a journey that will bless our town and enrich our lives, a new community center that will serve our youth and families. He smiled, flashing his perfectly white teeth, invoking a wave of applause. Let us make this happen together. Jack's heart sank. The crowd was eating it up. He is lying, he thought. They deserved to know the truth. With a surge of determination, he shouted, Sam! Wait! The crowd hushed, all eyes turning toward him. Sam's smile faltered for just a moment, irritation flickering across his face before reverting to one of cool confidence. Jack, I thought we were all in favor of moving our town forward. With the tension mounting, Miranda nodded at Jack, urging him to take the lead. What you're proposing isn't about the community, it's about greed. Jack's voice boomed, cutting through the rising chatter. Lily stepped in beside him, her face bright with passion. Sam is trying to dupe us. There's a bigger agenda at play, and we have proof. Her hands trembled as she held up the article Jack had shared with Miranda. The truth is out there. We need to open our eyes before it's too late. Whispers rippled through the crowd, uncertainty seeping in. Sam's calm facade began to crack, revealing anger simmering beneath. What are you talking about? He snapped, his eyes narrowing. This project will help us. You're just trying to stir trouble. No, we're trying to protect our town, Jack countered, the air alive with tension. This project will tear apart our community. Think about it. Who benefits? Is it really for us, or for you and your pockets? Enough! Sam shouted, his voice rising, but the crowd was now restless, murmurs of dissent growing louder. Jack felt the tide shift, just a little, as people exchanged worried glances, processing the hidden implications of Sam's vision. "Listen to him," Sam shouted again, desperation lining his tone. "Look at the benefits, the jobs. You think I'd put my reputation on the line if it was for the betterment of our town?" But it was too late. Jack could see that some were beginning to see beyond the polished words, the clever marketing. Don't let his charm fool you. All that glitters isn't gold. Jack fired back. We've dug into the details. This isn't about us, it's about his profit. Miranda joined in, her voice steady. If we unite, we can stop this. We're stronger together than they are divided. We must stand for what is right, for our families and our future. The energy in the air was shifting further, whispers morphing into discussions, doubts forming like cracks in Sam's carefully constructed facade. "Let us take a vote," someone yelled from the back, the idea catching like wildfire. "As a united community, let South rally at the park tonight." Lily shouted above the keen murmurs, amplifying the growing enthusiasm. "We can talk about how this affects us all. Stand up for our future." With rising support, Jack caught sight of Sam's face going pale. Panic flickered behind his confident veneer. "You think you can sway these people? You're just noise," Sam shouted, but the crowd was growing restless, his grip on them loosening. Jack's heart raced as the cheers mounted around him. This was at the moment they had been fighting for. Against the backdrop of dawning hope, he met Miranda's determined eyes, feeling a sense of solidarity between them. But just as they began to envision victory, a deafening crash echoed from the back of the crowd. Jack turned sharply, a knot forming in his stomach as he saw figures emerging from the shadows, menacing silhouettes approaching fast, their intent clear. "Stay together," he yelled, adrenaline flooding his system, but fear gnawed at him. What would happen next? Would their fight be extinguished by those who thrived on chaos? The confrontation was approaching fast, and as Jack braced himself, one thought raced through his mind: were they truly ready for the storm that was about to break loose? Jack stood at the forefront of the crowd, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him like a heavy blanket. He could feel the tension crackling in the air, and just as hope flared brightly, shadows loomed, menacing figures edging closer. Jack's heart sank. The community struggled to unite, but this was a whole new level of chaos. The crowd stirred restlessly, whispers of concern igniting like sparks. "Stay strong," Jack urged, trying to project confidence as he scanned the oncoming threat. It wasn't just about their proposed rally anymore. It was about protecting the heart of their town, their memories, their future. The figures drew nearer, intimidating silhouettes against the glow of the park lights, and Jack knew they wouldn't back down without a fight. "Jack, what do we do?" Lily's voice trembled as she looked at the figures anxiously. "We face this together," he replied, drawing on the strength Sarah always inspired in him. Each word rolled off his tongue, firm and steady to quell the fear. Suddenly, Sarah stepped up beside him, her fiery spirit igniting a rush of energy. She wouldn't cower. They couldn't show weakness now. "Everyone, listen!" Jack called out again, raising his voice above the murmurs. "This is our community. No one can silence us without a fight. We have to stand together united." The crowd erupted in a wave of agreement, heads nodding, fists clenched in solidarity. It felt like old times, like the town gatherings when everyone stood together against whatever challenges faced them. But then, from among the crowd, Miranda stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. "We won't back down." "Not now," she declared, her voice strong and unwavering. "This town has fought too long to be silenced by anyone." Her passion sent ripples through the crowd, igniting a fire within them. Cheers erupted, confidence swelling. The menacing silhouettes halted, uncertainty flickering in their eyes as they gauged the fervor of the gathering. Jack felt a thrill of hope. Do you see this? He shouted. This is community. This is where we belong. We're fighting for our homes, our families. Nay, who are we if we don't stand for each other? Suddenly, the menacing figures began to retreat, the strength of unity pushing back against the intimidation. Jack's heart raced as he caught sight of Sam, his once commandingly smug demeanor slipping into panic. This isn't over, he hissed, shoving through the crowd toward the vanishing shadows. Jack exchanged a knowing glance with Sarah, who returned a brilliant smile. They had faced the storm and emerged. The threat that had loomed felt less powerful now. Together, we can make it, she said softly, and in that moment, Jack could feel a warmth spreading through him, strength born from love and community. With adrenaline still coursing through their veins, Jack turned to the crowd. This is just the beginning. We'll hold our rally tonight and remind our town why it matters. We've come too far to let our home slip through our fingers. Cheers erupted again, this time deafening, as everyone rallied behind him. Their shared purpose lit a path into the future. He could see the eyes of familiar faces shining with renewed hope, children, old friends, and families who had weathered the storm together. Tonight, we reclaim our voice, Jack shouted, looking into the faces around him. For every laugh shared under the stars. For every potluck and picnic. For every memory that binds us. This is us. This is our community. The crowd roared in response, determination echoing in the night, and as they mobilized together toward the park, Jack felt the collective heartbeat of their town, a rhythm that sang of resilience and connection, a melody that had been all but lost before his return. But now, they were carving a future filled with hope, one anchored in love and understanding. As they gathered, hand in hand, heart in heart, Jack turned to Sarah. We're just getting started. She nodded, her eyes sparkling with pride. Let us show them what it means to really belong. Dawn would break on a new chapter for their community, one written with courage, passion, and a promise that the heart of the town would never be silenced again. They would thrive together. They would make their dreams a reality. This was more than redemption. It was transformation. And in that moment of clarity, Jack knew they had finally found their way home. Now, this is it. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you even more. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Trust me, it really helps and makes a big difference. And don't hold back. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this amazing, transformative ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.